And I think we're live.
I think we are too, because I have the live on custom live streaming service.
Seeing a lot of live buttons. It says we're online for Facebook. We can view event there. We should be online YouTube. All right. So this is the first Monday on Monday with the ODP team. Thank you for everybody joining us and watching this after. The purpose of us doing this is to start showing you some insight into our weekly calls as a team. So when we start our Mondays off, we have this stand up and we make sure everyone's on the same page. And we all know what the goals are for the week. We talk about what we accomplished last week and we have a little fun. And the way I always like to start to have fun in a day, anybody who's worked in the same office as me is playing a little game called What's the Good Word? So we each take turns now and have to say what the good word is. And Christy, we're going to start with you. What's the good word?
Hey, my good word for this week is strategic.
Why is it strategic?
I just feel like that's where we are in the business, is like a focus on strategy and a focus on like efficiency and operations. But it also is like personally important to me because like I have to be very strategic as a parent right now with everything that's going on in life and my kids being home 24/7. So yeah, my word's strategic.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, Phoenix, what do you got?
Patience.
Patience. Patiently wait for the word. Why is patience the good word?
Wow. Dealing with a little guy at home that's not verbal yet and doesn't understand language yet. So got me thinking a lot of things, he's figuring a lot of things and we are constantly figuring things out. We want to get results right away. Everyone does, but it takes a long way for us to get there fast, get there. Sometimes it's not like one straight shot. So just need to be patient and have the patience, figure things out one at a time and make sure they learn from it, make sure that you make less mistakes, but sometimes the mistakes are not avoidable. So just being patient with yourself, be patient with the process, being patient with where you're at and where you want to go and enjoy the moment really. So there you go.
I like that. And I think with everything we're doing, it's patience and that language that you have with your son. And how old is he?
4 months.
4 months. And you think about like in all the different places we're coming from, the different jobs we've had, roles we've had in the past. I know I've lost sight of like patience with other, freelancers that I've worked with. I know people have lost patience with me. I know everybody around me is going to need a lot of patience right now. And I appreciate that in advance because I've got 1,000 3x5 cards that I'm just throwing everywhere. So my good word is Monday. I'm going to start the first Monday on Monday with a Monday. It's something I look forward to, where we've always heard in this culture, it's like the case of the Mondays and something people don't look forward to after a weekend, but I'm excited because we got the right people around us. We're growing a team. We're doing really positive things. And it's exciting to see what the outcome is going to be. So with that, Christy, I'm going to turn it over to you with our agenda here, what we have today.
Sure. So first thing is just kind of our accomplishments for the last week, and we typically break those down into two areas. So one, what team members have we brought on from an on-demand standpoint, and then the major milestones that we've had in the previous week to just kind of celebrate where we are and where we still need to go. So first things first, we've brought on 2 new team members in the last week. One is AJ as an integration specialist, and 2 is Chase as a target market researcher. So you want to talk about those roles a little bit?
Yeah. So AJ is exciting from a couple different points. We were trying to figure out what we wanted to call him. We kind of threw a name out, integration specialist, because as we were talking to him and discovering his past, in all the things he can do and has done, it was a lot of different applications from G Suite to everything else. And I was like, man, this guy can integrate anything. And what's really cool is we'll get to his story. Is we're going to do an interview with AJ. And in that story comes a lot of Christy. And so he's pretty much said, like, Christy's dragging me around to all these different engagements, which
I have.
for anybody like that has not stepped into the freelancer space and thought about it, or anybody's operating on their own, it's an excellent story to how you're not alone. And what you find out through different engagements is there's people that you worked really well with. And it's not always about waiting for the new client to come in, because other people you've worked with have complementary skill sets, are probably going to bring you into other engagements.
Absolutely.
So you build these like flexible molding teams that kind of take place all over at different times. And Chase, you've worked with in the past. I think it's awesome. He's just out of college.
Yeah.
Where I'm just sitting here like, yes, we've got a fresh mind.
Yeah, for sure.
And what's so cool is, in just my conversation with Chase last Friday, is he's already like super passionate to go attack life, like, and go learn things and do things and experience. So there's a lot of motivation behind him to succeed. You can see that when you talk to him. So I'm looking forward to, I set him out on the first task of hashtag research, is I start posting pictures of, like, this weekend would be a bunny hutch that we're building. Like, what are the right hashtags we should wrap around that? So yeah, looking forward to both of those guys coming on to help the team out.
For sure. Next thing is major milestones. So I think the first thing, like our first breakthrough, was the operation strategy that you brought me via 3x5 Live. So kind of, yes. So talk us through that. And Phoenix, I know this is brand new to you right now. And I said earlier, you might be ready to kill me after this stand up, because it's a slight adjustment, but I think it's a really good workflow. It's just now you and I are going to have to wrap our minds around what this means for us with content development and things. But I think this is good stuff.
So when I switch, I'm on speaker view now. Can you just see my face?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. I just want to make sure the camera's big. Okay. So when we talk about operating strategy under the Brock's platform, which you'll hear us talking more and more about, Brock's Way, it's a process of planning for your business, both your money and your time. Operating strategy is getting down to the processes for any business activity. And with that, we're working as a team to standardize the language around that. Back to, Phoenix, what a good word with patience and language with the young one. But if we can all get a same language to how we talk about our businesses, everyone who's on demand and utilizing on-demand talent can move much faster, because we're always speaking that same language. So if we look at the stages of operating any activity, there's 5 stages. The first of which is the trigger stage. And so something's got to happen to start that business activity. And it might be that there's a sale. And so what do? Do you have to make the product now? Do you already have the product? Does it have to go out to distribution? What are the things that is going to trigger this business activity to take place? And so the next thing with that is a starting point. So with any business activity, if you've done planning, you want a starting point. And I think that back to the Instagram is a great example of that. Is I'm having Chase go out and build all these hashtags, and then I'm gonna have Phoenix come in and help bring in all her knowledge around digital marketing, to where we'll create a starting document that is a guide for all the Instagram posts that go out for different subjects. And so if anybody's done Instagram for a business, and I have tried before, you end up, and they say you should do 2 posts a day, and you go out there, you're taking pictures. And if you're doing it ad hoc without a plan, you find yourself taking pictures of digital eyewear sitting on a bush in front of your house. And then your graphic designer's like, why did you take a picture of our glasses sitting on a bush? I was like, dude, I ran out of ideas. We like did it just, and was I using the right hashtags? There was no process. There's nothing for me to go off of, like, here's the plan and execution. And then I spend way too much time on my phone typing in the hashtags or doing all those other things that in the end take a lot of time to operate. So you want that starting point. And then once you have that starting point, then you can do, and depending on what that business process is, like, this is where a lot of your steps are going to take place. If you're building a physical product, like maybe this is where the steps are to that physical product, or if you're putting together digital content like we are right now, there were steps to us doing this. And, you know, Christy and I putting together an agenda. And then before we did that, what we do next is we reviewed it. So like, that's the fourth step. And you do something and review it for, you know, the quality of the product. And I think with any business, you know, especially for those of us that have been out by ourselves, that are out by ourselves, you know, I'm not anymore, but to have somebody else review it, to have, you know, the 4-eye rules, 2 sets of eyes looking at something to make sure it is what you want it to be for that customer is super important. And the final step is the go step. And so that's when it's going to go to product. You know, if you're digital content, you're going to publish it. If it's a physical product, you're going to deliver it. It's that final step in that business operating strategy from when it got triggered. You had a starting point, you do it, you review it, and then you go. And so again, that's what we're building the operating strategy framework around for all creation and operation of our businesses that we're putting together. And then that way we have the same language going forward.
Awesome. So Phoenix, the next thing is to show you what I've done on Monday.com, which is the project management software. I know that you know this, Phoenix, but for the listener, it's the project management software that we use. And so I have attempted to do this, attempted is the key word, to do this with like the workflow that Paul just described with our digital content concepts. And so I want to share my screen and show you what I've come up with so far. And obviously, I want lots of feedback on that from both of you guys. So the first thing that would happen, and I know we've talked a little bit about this board, Phoenix, but we have the idea board. And the idea board is there to, you know, ideas from listeners that come in, it's ideas from us internally, etc. As you know, we can vote those ideas up. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, Paul's going to say, yeah, there's enough votes, or this came from enough of our listeners or whatever, that we're going to move it to evaluating and or approved. That we've still got to work through is what exactly the status is going to do to trigger this action. But this is basically, if you go back to Paul's workflow, this is our trigger, right? Because as soon as we click what this status is, we're at the start phase. So our start would then be this, it would be an automation to where that is moved to one of our digital content boards. So it would move from the idea board into, let's say, audiograms. Okay, so audiograms, one of the things that we might have is a what's the good word audiogram, where we share one of our good words out with everyone. And when you look at these concepts, I think, do I have one? Here we go. Let's do ODP thoughts. So as soon as it moves here, this will automatically trigger as we're in the start phase. So it lets everybody know. Paul said, yes, we're going to move forward with this test concept. We're ready to put together this content. And so Phoenix, what you and I've got to work on is, and with Paul, is to flush out exactly what are the repeatable sub items, the repeatable tasks that go along with each of the different types of content that we create. So meaning ODP thoughts, audiograms, interview production, first win for the day, interviews, etc. Okay, all of the digital content types that we have will have their own board. And then within that, oh, I'm sorry, Paul, go ahead.
Christy, can you go over the audiogram? What's a good word? I thought we might have thrown some sub items under, not the idea one, but the one right above it.
Okay.
Audio. Yeah, that one. Is there some sub items on those?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
There are some sub items. So these are things that Paul like brainstormed what the steps were. And then within this, we will have working on it, stuck, or done. And then over here, we have our phases of, when it kicks to review, etc.
And for those that are seeing this, like what's an audiogram? It's essentially like if you look at a social media post that is more or less an image, but you might see some audio wave file movement to it. It's actually a video. There will be voice behind it. So there's, if you're thinking about producing content as we have in this instance, we don't have to put as much of the visual video stuff behind it, but we will still record audio, put some posts, some copy for the post together. Each of them are going to have a title that needs to be changed out. So as we work as a team to figure out what that copy is going to be, what the audio script's going to be, then we have to produce the audio, and then somebody's got to actually put that MP4 file together, and then somebody's got to go distribute that. It's a lot of little steps to get it from, approved, this is a good idea, to this is social media posts that serves numerous values, and one of which it's valuable to our end user. And it might just be a pick me up. That's what the good word's all about. It's just a little positivity to start the day.
And so I think this kind of shifts us into the goals for the week. So one of my goals for the week, and Phoenix, I'm going to need some help with this, as well as, of course, Paul, you're getting roped in. One of the goals would be that I want to take 2 to 3 of these digital content boards and really flush out what are the steps that we want to be repeatable, right? So that we would have the subtasks ready to go, so that when an idea pushes over from that digital idea board, when it pushes over, we can automatically copy these subtasks in and move us through that content creation process.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a number 1 goal for the week. And a number 2 goal for the week then is that we get all those automations in place. So it's kind of a twofold Monday.com goal. Like, yes, we need I would like to have at least 3 of the digital contents completely fleshed out and ready to show with, on our live stand up next week, where we have them not perfect, right? Because we're always a work in progress, but at least standardized. And then we can show that full work through with at least 3 of those idea boards or those content boards. But hopefully more, but at least 3 is my goal. And then secondly is to have them not only there, but automated, so that workflow's sufficiently flowing. And that's something AJ and I need to continue to work on. So
I think it looks good. I'm super excited about
it's coming.
the efficiencies like that we're going to get to. I know it, like getting this right. And we're spending significant time, relatively, of planning this, because we're in a little bit of the chicken and the egg. We're trying to create the planning document that we want everybody else to be able to utilize too. And that's one of the reasons we're showing this, is like, here's the behind the scenes. When we figure this out, which we will, then we want everybody else to use it, because it's going to be the best way to utilize this tool for this application. And then I guess, Phoenix, any thoughts or questions?
No, not really. I think I'll just touch base with Krista later. Just she can walk me through, what's the thought behind it a little bit more, so we can figure out a better system.
Excellent. Then the other thing that I think is on our goal for the week is I'm going to be touching base with our legal representative over at BMD, and we're working through the independent contractor agreements. That's something that I've amazingly found out is not prevalent enough of freelancers utilizing no contract, actually not utilizing a contract to engage in work. And it's also one of the biggest pain points of not being able to get payment from their clients, And I think part of the reason why is because things are not formally engaged. So we're really working on a well-documented independent contractor agreement, a business relationship document, whatever we need to call it to make everybody feel good. But the goal here is managing expectations on both sides of the coin for the client and the on-demand talent. And again, eventually making that tool available to everybody so we can all be on the same page, speaking the same language.
Awesome. And then the last thing on our agenda is kind of what I've been calling the ODT shuffle. So who else do we need from on-demand talent? Things that I need to be looking for you and for the team. And so right now I have the following 3 roles on our list. We have an Elementor Developer, which Paul, I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about.
So we're going to build a number of our websites in WordPress. Elementor is a page builder that offers you a lot of flexibility. I've chosen that for the first couple businesses because of the utilization is so high out there of this tool. It means that we're going to be able to find more options of on-demand talent that know how to use the tool. And it's something to think about if you're choosing a piece of software or a tool for your business and you plan on utilizing other people. If, that's why you don't write proprietary software for a lot of the stuff you do, because you need to be able to potentially find other talent to come in. And the more it's used out in the industry, the more talent you're going to be able to choose from that can speak specifically to your needs.
For sure. Let's see. The second one that we have is the UX designer. And I think that I'm going to kick that back to you, Paul, because.
Yeah. So, UX user experience goes along with user interface, which on the UI side, we have Stephen Wilson, who's done our branding visuals, all our graphic design work. He's one of the core members of the team. We're looking for someone on the UX side that can help us look at the customer journey for a lot of what we're doing and how people want to consume the information around starting their business or taking their business to the next level with our methodologies in place. So there's a lot of learning that comes along with that. And as an end product, as a deliverable with a UX designer and working with our whole team here is having something potentially maybe in like Sketch, which is the mock-up. It's the wireframe, those type of deliverables that we can then hand to that developer on the Elementor side. So on demand, Paul, we have a lot of the components built together on Broxway, the next big project. There's a lot to build out and a lot more thinking that goes along with that. And having someone experienced in UX is going to be vitally important.
And then the last thing that I have on here is that we're exploring e-learning experts, and that for more Broxway probably than ODP, but basically looking for people that at least can consult at a high level with us on building out e-learning templates so that we have something that's easily reproduced so that we can mass produce content versus go through the painstaking process every single time that we need to produce like module content.
Yes. And to use that methodology that's evidence-based. And Christy, this is where your education background comes into huge play. And again, what we're doing is trying to get everybody on the same page. And with that, we all probably go on YouTube now, and what I call YouTube University. And the really good educators out there know what they're doing. There's a certain process, certain things, even like Chrissy, you're teaching me about like how to categorize things and to think about things in a structured way. And so like Chrissy said, we can create that pattern to repeatedly bring information that's easily consumable, independent of where you are. And so everyone can speak the same language. So those are the 3 main needs right now. And one of the purposes of us doing this live Monday is if you're listening, or if you're listening after the case, email us. You can email me directly, paul@ondemandpaul.com, Christy@ondemandpaul.com, and let us know if you know somebody or if you're that person that does UX design or has been an Elementor, has an e-learning background. We want to have the conversation to see if you're the right on-demand talent to help us put this thing together. Any final thoughts?
That's all we got today. Just I need to follow up with Phoenix, and then we've got a couple other follow-up meetings to schedule. Other than that, well, we should be good to go.
All right, fantastic. Thank you all for joining. Everyone take care, be healthy, and shuffle well. Turn this thing off.